I first met Jeffrey Epstein. I was introduced to him by the Lady Rothschild. And she asked me to meet him because he was a major contributor at Harvard.
Alan, I find that very interesting
Go ahead,
because
Eric, quickly.
yeah, one of the things that I find very intriguing is that Jeffrey Epstein appeared to know all sorts of things about me that were not public and seemed to require almost a periscope into my life, in particular scientific things about me that probably flowed through the Harvard department that I was from which I took my PhD. I don't think that you're grasping how strong the circumstantial case is that this person was somehow attached to intelligence and may have benefited from things like state secret privilege and other forms of exotica in the law.
I was so young. Ghislaine woke me up in the morning and said, "You're going to meet a prince today." I didn't know at that point that I was going to be trafficked to that prince. And then that night, Prince Andrew came to her house in London, and we went out to Club Tramp. Prince Andrew got me alcohol. It was in the VIP section. I'm pretty sure it was vodka. Prince Andrew was like, "Let's dance together." And I was like, okay. And we leave Club Tramp, and I hop in the car with Ghislaine and Jeffrey, and Ghislaine said, "He's coming back to the house, and I want you to do for him what you do for Epstein." I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that even royalty were involved.
I have spent the last 17 years in my own prison for what she, Jeffrey, and all the co-conspirators did to me. I was raped repeatedly. I was raped 3 times a day sometimes. And I was not the only girl on that island. There was a constant stream of girls being raped over and over and over again. And yes, Ghislaine must die in prison because I've been in hell and back for the last 17 years.
And 27 for me.
I was 10 years old when Liz Stein was being trafficked. I was 10.
Epstein was transfixed with transhumanism and life extension technologies. Epstein's sprawling ranch in New Mexico, which was pedantically maintained by staff yet rarely used or visited by Epstein himself, appeared to have one main bizarre function: to serve as a baby-making facility where Epstein would attempt to help foster his dream of, quote, seeding the human race with his DNA by impregnating women. According to the New York Times, Mr. Epstein told scientists and businessmen about his ambitions to use his New Mexico ranch as a base where women would be inseminated with his sperm and would give birth to his babies. Epstein's goal was to have 20 women impregnated at a time at the 33,000 square foot ranch. This is why, since the early 2000s, Epstein became obsessed with ingratiating himself with the technological and scientific elite.
Ghislaine Maxwell had a submarine license and was known to transport people to Epstein Island through an underwater submarine port. The U.S. military built a submarine base on St. Thomas Island, which is just 13 kilometers from Epstein Island. And right next to this submarine base is Water Island, owned by Joe Biden's brother and their business associate.
How does the pursuit of life extension and this bizarre baby harvesting program connect with Epstein's sordid sex parties and his trafficking of minors? And bear with me here, because this is where it gets well freaky. Several ancient powerful cults believed that engaging in occult tantric sex magic rituals could extend their lives by decades. One of these cults, the cult of Iana, is reportedly still active in the United States and Europe today. This is all explained in a rare book called Cult and Occult. The book explains how rulers down the centuries believed that sexual contact with minors would re-energize their bodies and extend their lives. This book is actually part of the Stanley Kubrick archives, because Kubrick used it as a primary research source for his movie Eyes Wide Shut, which of course centered around a shadowy elitist cabal based out of New York City that routinely engaged in, well, let's say Epstein-like shenanigans. Gee, I wonder who Kubrick was trying to warn us about.
Who do you think those people were? Those were not just ordinary people there. If I told you their names, I'm not going to tell you their names, but if I did, I don't think you'd sleep so well.
As is depicted in the film, the sex magic rituals performed by Epstein and his co-conspirators weren't just about fulfilling their perverted sexual fantasies. They were also part of the occult belief that absorbing psychosexual energy from victims would actually make them live longer. Bizarre beyond belief. I know how crazy it sounds. But the life extension angle with Epstein was literally reported by the New York Times. No one's talking about any of that though. No one's talking about the missing blackmail material from Epstein's mansion. Everyone's still being distracted by complete nothing burgers like Prince Andrew and Stephen Hawking. Questions also continue to swirl over the weirder proclivities of what Epstein and his elite cohorts were really up to. We know that Epstein was obsessed with trying to groom the tech elite. His infamous dinners with Bill Gates.
What did you know about him when you were meeting with him?
I had dinners with him. I regret doing that.
He also tried to cozy up to Elon Musk, inviting him to his mansion, but Musk immediately got the heebie-jeebies and decided to steer well clear.